Come here, man. America, love.
Go, Dan.
Vince and I decided to embrace the good. And today, the good is definitely Rick James. What's happening, everybody? It's Fantasy NBA Today. It's our weekly live Thursday edition. I'm Dan Besbris, and he is Vince Miracle. Vince, I feel really good about what we just did.
I'm in love with Mary Jane. She's my main thing.
Friday, Brewski and I opened up to Lionel Richie's Hello, and he started singing. And today, we open up to Rick James's Mary Jane, and Vincent can't stop himself. What are you looking at over there? You're looking off to the left.
I'm looking at the chat board to see if anyone's going to make fun of me.
It's coming. Just you wait. It is coming. So anyway, that's done. I mean, there's obviously jokes to be made, and I guess the tie-in for those of you across the nation is, of course, that the substance in question that Rick James is mentioning, which of course it's a song about a woman. We all know that.
That's what I was about to ask you. Is that not what the song's about?
Yeah. So
he's in love with Mary Jane.
So Mary, the woman that Rick is singing about, just became a much more prevalent woman across the United States. And we thought it might be funny to have a little go with that. But anyway, we got questions coming in already on the chat board. It's Thursday live Fantasy NBA Today. We got a big Wednesday card to go over. And Vince, I've missed you, man. This once a week thing is not enough. And I got you on low sleep today, so this show is going to be extra weird.
Not only let me first say this: we're like the TNT. If things had to get any weirder, Aaron Brewski does this. He's in love with Mary Jane. That's the main thing.
That come on, that beat.
All right. Well, back to what I was saying.
Yeah, what were you saying, Vince?
We're the new TNT crew for fantasy basketball on Thursdays. We go live Thursday. It's me and you, and we're funny, and I'm on 2 hours of sleep just like those guys are when they're up at like 3 o'clock in the morning doing Inside the NBA. And by the way, I got my rock star. I'm feeling good.
I think we can tell, Vince, because even before you swung that one into the camera, over your left shoulder is a massive case of it.
That's if I run out in the fridge.
you got a backup ready to go. This is wired today, man. I am not on any caffeine because caffeine. Do we need to do? We probably don't need to do a show, Vince, on what irritable bowel syndrome is like. But suffice it to say that Roxy would be a very bad decision for your old friend Dan. What about some basketball, man? I want to spend a bunch of time catching up with you this morning, but there were 11 games last night, so we really don't have a moment to spare.
Say this: I'm having a lot of fun with basketball. I'm winning this week, and I'm gonna win all my leagues. So yeah, Dan Besbris, I miss you. Let's go into these games. Whew, that was an Ace Ventura Pet Detective move.
That was the Rockstars kicking in full force. Utah Charlotte. I talked to Jordan Smith on the live show last night, Vince, and we went over all 11 games pretty quickly. We can probably spend a little bit more time on them this morning just because we got that full hour ready to go. This show will be dedicated more to talking about the games, but of course we will get to questions time permitting. But in that one, you know what? I got to tell you, man, I continue to be impressed with the Charlotte Hornets. They beat a good Utah team yesterday, and they're off to the best start in franchise history.
Hey, Kemba Walker, we thought he stepped up last year. We didn't. I didn't expect a whole nother level again. And that Utah Jazz team, they're coming into their own. And on top of that, Derek Favors is starting to look good. I've had him in my DFS lineups over the last couple days. Good news, just for those people doing DFS stuff. I'm going to post every single one of my winnings every single time I win. Every time I lose, I won't post anything. So if I don't post it, it means I lost. But but I've been winning a lot lately this year. Starting off with a PlayStation 4, I won that a couple weeks back. I should be getting that like right around December on FanDuel. I've been hitting a lot of tournaments on DFS, and a lot of that has been because Kemba Walker. And the reason why I bring that up is because Kemba Walker has just been playing out of his mind. I wish I would have drafted him now in that second round. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. We saw him take a huge step last year, and it's continued on to this year. And I'm really excited to see where his rest of season outlook turns into because he's just looking spectacular to start this season.
Yeah, big numbers from Kemba in that ball game. Gordon Hayward, Derek Favors, Rodney Hood, Rudy Gobert. Decent games, really, for a lot of guys. And a contest that I don't know if people expected this thing to hit 100 points on both sides, but it basically did. The one thing that I do want to point out on the Charlotte side is that there's this weird fluctuation here with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. And to me, I know he only scored 2 points last night, but that Jazz interior defense is tough. So for a guy like MKG who gets most of his buckets near the rim, you had to know he was going to struggle a little bit on the offensive side. But 9 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and a block. This is a guy that, to me, is impressing me almost more on a weekly basis, and I really like him. I think he's a guy that you got to have on your team. I think he's a defensive difference maker this year.
Yeah. This entire team is just I was distracted in the chat room for just a second. I'm going to say this, too, about this game that was really fun to watch is that Cody Zeller has been blowing me away with just he's quietly starting to build up his team, and everyone's talking about oh, he's just quietly having decent lines. This guy is he's starting to pick it up. You know that he's blocked a shot in every single game but one, and he's scored in double digits in every single game but one game this season. He's playing really good. So if he's out there in free agency and you're looking for a low end center with potential upside, I think he's someone you have to keep your eye on.
Yeah, really interesting team. I like the Charlotte Hornets. I like watching them play, and they're good. They're good. Let's face it. This team has a legitimate shot to be the 3 seed in the East this year. And I don't know that people thought that was going to be the case, but they're probably going to be duking it out with Boston for that spot. So kudos, Charlotte.
I think they're gonna lose steam though. Boston's a really good basketball team.
Yeah,
they're injured right now.
And Charlotte will go through a lull at some point, but if the key cogs on that team can stay healthy, they've got something pretty nice brewing out in Charlotte. But not from a fantasy standpoint, there is a ton to go over in that ball game. So I'd like to move on to Philly, Indiana. The 76ers are a daily sort of intrigue in that you just hardly know what's about to happen. And so I spent some time last night after talking to Jordan about the 76ers, and we talked about Robert Covington starting to heat up now. He had a nice ball game yesterday. Hollis Thompson, Dario Saric had his first double-double in the NBA. Gerald Henderson put up nice numbers. But, of course, Joel Embiid was out. Nerlens Noel remains out. Ben Simmons remains out. Jared Bayless is still out. So, on that Philly side, almost everything that we're talking about right now has a little bit of a stamp on it. And so with that in mind, Vince, as bullish as I was on some of these guys a couple weeks ago, I'm kind of peeling my love back a little bit. And even though Rob Covington is a guy that's sort of kind of falling on and off of teams, and Saric as well, and obviously they want to get these guys some minutes, but people are going to come back, and those numbers are going to get cut into a little bit. So I do now actually think there's a little bit of a reason to worry if you're holding some Philly assets outside of maybe the big guys.
Dario Saric had a great game, though. And I don't know if this is going to be considered the breakout game, but this is the very first time against a tough competitor in Thaddeus Young where he actually put up a good line. He double-doubled. And then with Covington, if he was dropped, he's a guy who fills up the stat sheet in steals and in three-pointers. So if you need both those on your team, he's a nice guy to add. I had who did I have? The point guard for New Orleans. What's his name again?
Frazier.
Yeah, I had Tim Frazier on my team, and I actually dropped him because someone let go of Covington on a cold spell, and I dropped him and picked up Covington. And look, I used him on his first game where he went 4 for 5, he only missed a shot. And then he came into this one and knocks 5 3-pointers down and goes 50% from the field. So he's going to be a key piece of that team because of the fact that he can stretch the floor. The person who I was surprised by in that game, though, Gerald Henderson. I look at him more as a deep league play, and even then, he's probably just still on waivers, and you're looking at him if you absolutely need some points. But he was fun to watch.
He's scoring, and he's scoring only. And this, of course, was an overtime game, so there were some pretty big lines on both sides. Indiana Nobody really jumping out at you, guys. We've already talked about, although Big Al did have 18 points in 20 minutes yesterday. He's not on my radar yet, Vince. Is this enough to get him onto yours?
If you need points and you need rebounds and you need at the end of your bench and he has like a 5-game week, maybe you pick him up. But other than that, it's Miles Turner's team at the center position.
100%. So, I mean, that's kind of where things sit with these two teams in my estimation. I'm a little bit less excited about Philly. I worry that some of those numbers are going to get cut into, and we saw Covington finally take some shots yesterday, but it does seem like having Embiid out allows some of these other guys to get a little bit more into the offense and their usage rates climb a little bit. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, with CJ Miles, I think he's someone that is getting hot, and he'll probably stay relatively mild throughout the entire season. But when he gets the minutes, if you need 3 points, you need some scoring, he's been able to do that, and he's been hot for the last couple games. So get him while his hot streak is going on, but just know that you'll have to drop him at some point because Covington are like anybody else in the NBA, but most importantly, these low end guys. When they're hot, they're hot. But when they're cold, it's when you need to move on and go on to somebody else. And I can't wait till we get to the Detroit game because there's a player on there that I really want to talk about with the Detroit and Phoenix side. But can I choose the next game to talk about? I really want to get your thoughts on this next game. I've been waiting, and this could be the game that you're going to next, anyways. But can I choose it?
Yeah, man, Vince's choice.
Can we talk about Minnesota and Orlando? This game was just ridiculously crazy. This was probably the next game you're going to, but like Zach LaVine goes off for 37 points. Karl Anthony Towns has just been a monster this season. Gorgie Dang was on triple-double watch. I mean, this was just an amazing game. If you wanted to see young Minnesota team finally show what they can be when everything is clicking as Tom Thibodeau is their head coach, last night was the night. Yes, I know it was against a bad Orlando team, but man, 123 points, that was just such a fun, like, up and down game to watch. And then Vucevic is still putting up numbers. Does he get traded? I think he is, but Serge Ibaka has just been terrible this season. People are selecting him in like the 4th round. Stop it. All right, what are your thoughts on the game? I'm sorry, I went down like a plethora of players there.
No, we tried to warn people, Vince, that Serge Ibaka was not going to be a wise decision this year, and people grabbed him anyway. And something that I've brought up on a couple of shows recently is that Ibaka's now hit that basement point where you can actually still, and this is a weird concept to bring up, but I want to mention it anyway. He's gotten so bad now that you can actually buy low with expectations much lower than where he was drafted in a lot of leagues. So let me explain myself. So Ibaka was drafted, like you said, Vince, in 3rd, 4th rounds in a lot of leagues, and that was never a point that he was going to get to. He wasn't going to be able to reach that value, and we told everybody that. But we also here at Hoop Ball, we're saying, 70s, something in that neck of the wood. He was a 60-something guy last year. So now you're talking about a guy who's dropped even farther, 90s, 100s. If you could go and get Ibaka at that price, he'll probably work his way back to 60-something or 70-something. You can't expect top 30, top 40, but you could actually buy low and expect top 70, and at that point it becomes kind of worth it again.
If you can buy low on Ibaka, like my really, well, I just heard myself. Still hear myself in my own.
You got an echo going?
A really bad one.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what is happening. Anyways, what I was going to say, even though I hear myself in my own ears, I'll just turn myself down. And when you talk, Dan, I'll turn you back up. Was if you can buy low on Ibaka, I mean, that'd be great. I mean, maybe you can throw together like a Wes Matthews if you wanted to give Wes Matthews up because of his field goal percentage and go for Ibaka. But Ibaka is turning into like a small forward type of player. I mean, he's already had 2 or 3 games this year where he hasn't even put up a defensive stat in the game. Serge Ibaka is gone. He's not that same player. He has moved further and further away from the rim over the last 3 seasons. His stats have come down. We talked about it all through the offseason. So if you guys saw him getting taken in the 4th round a couple of times, I did. And I steal somebody else. I mean, that was just such a bad – I mean, you know who I got in the 4th round who's been living up to value is actually Miles Turner. I got him at the end of the 4th round. I've been completely happy with that pick. And then it's been Serge Ibaka going there at times. I'm just like, he's just not meeting value. And I'm trying to pull up his stats to see what he's averaging.
Not much.
He's averaging 13 points and 5 rebounds and a block, 1.1 blocks. Cody Zeller is giving you just as many stats as he is. So I mean that's how bad of a level that he's on. Is that Cody Zeller is putting up just as much value as Serge Ibaka is right now, and he was being selected in the 4th round just because of name value.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a really interesting point there, and it's a weird spot because obviously you're not going to be able to go out and trade for Ibaka with somebody like Cody Zeller. But if you got a 9th round draft pick that's overperforming right now, you could potentially get him and expect some kind of rebound. I don't think that he's going to be quite this bad all year, but I also don't think he's going to be nearly as good as people thought, thinking, oh well, he's going to see big minutes and he's going to be a focal point in Orlando. It's Vince. It just doesn't seem like that's who he is anymore.
He's not. He's not that player anymore. Serge Ibaka is a man of the past. Let's just put it like that. That's all he is. He's someone that is not there anymore.
Can we talk about the battle for New York?
Did you say something?
Oh, man. You're having some technical issues on Vince's end. I want to talk about the battle for New York. That's what I'm talking about right now. And Brewski's boy, Justin Hamilton, went big last night, Vince. He must be just, like, parading through the office in his underpants today.
Oh, Justin Hamilton, that's the site of hoop-ball.com praises him every single chance we get. He came off the bench and he played big. I mean, yeah, we here at Hoop Ball on the Brewski 150 were one of maybe 2 sites or 2 projected sites that actually had Justin Hamilton as a top 120 player, top 120 player. If someone you need to keep on your radar, and whenever Lopez goes down or whenever he's getting rested or whenever he gets traded, Justin Hamilton's going to be sliding right in there. And he did so. He played 22 minutes and had 21 points. The big men are what carried that Brooklyn team to actually make it a competitive game until the 4th quarter.
So is there anything – did anything in this game move the needle for you?
To go get him? Is he gone?
Well, we're having some issues once again here. So everybody everybody in the chat room stay put. Vince and I are going to get reconnected, and we'll be right back with you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you again, Vince.
Good. All right. Are we back? Are we live?
We are remaining live. Everybody got to witness technical difficulties live on air. I need that little dancing cartoon to throw up on the screen with the do music in the background.
Or just start playing Mary Jane.
I closed that tab already. I thought we were good. Well, I was just asking you, Vince, if anything in that New York Brooklyn game moved the needle for you.
To go pick up Justin Hamilton or
really anybody in that game, because really on the Brooklyn side it was kind of just Justin Hamilton and Brook Lopez, and for the Knicks you had a weird smattering of lines. Guillermo Hernan Gomez had 14 points yesterday, but I mean for me this game didn't change much. At least I didn't feel like what you saw from either side changed my expectations for either of the two teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing I'll bring up that not a lot of people are talking about is that Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is still contributing across the board. He didn't get any steals, but he got you a block with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. The 1 of 4 shooting wasn't great, but he went 6 of 6 from the free throw line. If you're in an 8-cat league, I think that's definitely positive. The 3 turnovers in a 9-cat league is definitely a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, you're having a guy that you're seeing them put the ball in his hands or wanting to see him develop, and he's doing so, and you're starting to see gradual improvement from a guy who is going to be an across the board stat filler, I think, as the season continues to grow.
Hey, Vince, remember when Otto Porter was falling in drafts? That was a funny time.
When Otto Porter was supposedly getting passed up by Kelly Oubre.
Good gracious. Can we put that to rest now?
No, I don't think I'll ever go to rest because everyone loves the name Kelly Oubre, but I hope so after last night's game.
My goodness. Otto Porter, 34 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. He made 74% of his shots, took 19 of them, by the way, all 3 of his free throws. He did not commit a turnover. He hit 3 3-pointers, and I mentioned this last night with Jordan, but I want to mention it again. It is the very rare fantasy night where a player actually exceeded the league expectation. That is, he was above the mean. He was almost a standard deviation above the mean in every category without any detriment. You almost never see that. especially a guy who didn't commit any turnovers. His poorest performance yesterday was just 4 assists. That was magical. That was a type of line, Vince, that's number 1 overall pick level. Now, obviously, that's not going to stick. This will probably be the line of the year for Porter, but this is why, by the way, you saw a lot of websites, ours included, rank him pretty high going into the season because he can do an unbelievable plethora of things. Look at that line, Vince. That's amazing.
No, he had just an amazing game. It's Otto Porter. It's what he does. He'll get you when you're not expecting. He'll help you when you're not expecting it. So that's what you have to expect from a guy like Otto Porter. The only thing that sucks about that is that now he's going to be overthought of a little bit. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's just so amazing." He's not like the guy that you're looking at, like, "Oh, he's like second round value or whatever." But he's been playing really good this season, and that talk about Kelly Oubre just has to be a thing of the past. And my question to you now is, does he get more run now that Bradley Beal went down with the injury?
I would think that, looking at yesterday's ballgame, it did seem like Marcus Thornton was a guy who wedged himself in. He played 34 minutes, 16 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Thornton's always a guy that's just going to generally gun from the perimeter, but he's always been kind of a low turnover guy. He makes his free throws. He'll get you some steals here and there. He's kind of like C.J. Miles in that respect, and it seems like he may come into some minutes now. So if I'm picking somebody up to stream a little bit, I'm looking at Marcus Thornton, and I think he could give you a kind of a decent smattering of stats for maybe a week or two.
I'm not. I mean, you have to be in a deep league for me to even look at Marcus Thornton. I've seen Baby Buckets try and be Mr. Buckets for the Sacramento Kings before, and it wasn't happening. He's too inconsistent. I mean, I think Kelly Oubre gets minutes at the shooting guard spot. I think now would be a time you look at him and you're like, hey, can he produce in his time, which he's shown he can this season? I think that's someone that I'm actually looking at now that Bradley Beal went down with the injury. And we all know when Bradley Beal goes down with the injury, he could be like the littlest thing, and he could be out for a couple weeks. So I'm having my watch list on Kelly Oubre to see if he gets slotted into that starting role, because he did get a lot of attention through the preseason. It looks like Scotty Brooks has him as a fan. So I really like the interest in Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, I'm leaning a little more Thornton. We'll have to see which of those guys, and it might be on a nightly basis. You may see Marcus go off one night and Oubre the next. I like this notion now of Thornton finally playing with a point guard who can get him open. That's something that he hasn't really enjoyed in the past. So we'll see. You know, he might have a game where he just clangs 3 or 4 shots and comes out immediately, and of course we do have to wait. Bradley Beal, by the way, the MRI came back clean, but that just means that there's no tear, so he could still be out for, again, like you said, Vince, he's a little bit of a brittle fella, so it could be a week or two still. Marcus Smart had a pretty nice ball game yesterday. He took 18 shots for a weird Celtics team right now. They're banged up, but they're not playing like they did last year. There doesn't seem to be that fire. Avery Bradley and Isaiah Thomas are consistently putting up really nice offensive numbers, but Vince, where's the defense for this Boston team?
I mean, they have no Jay Crowder. They have no Al Horford. They're just hanging on by a thread, waiting for their key guys to come back. Like, they're as strong as their starting core. And yes, they have some nice role players. I think Marcus Smart is a great role player off the bench because of his defense. In fact, he took 18 shots yesterday was just, kind of a little crazy. But again, I think that they're just waiting for their key guys to come back, because a lot of these guys that they're playing are the role player guys that are only supposed to see 18 to maybe 20 minutes, and if they have the hot hand, they can stay on a little bit longer. But they need Jay Crowder and they need Al Horford if they want to be relevant in the Eastern Conference.
Let's move on to the Chicago-Atlanta game. We saw kind of what people were expecting with Chicago again, which is that this team looks pretty lifeless on defense. Jimmy Butler looked amazing last night, and he looks like kind of the only guy trying to guard somebody. Maybe you could give Taj Gibson a little bit on that as well. But the question I think most people are asking is not, how good can Jimmy Butler be? Because last night was an example of an excellent night, and Dwayne Wade had a nice fantasy line, and Taj had a good one as well. But people are asking, I think, right now about Nikola Mirotic, who put up just 2 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in only 11 minutes. He's got 3 bad games in a row under his belt. And Vince, I watched a lot of this ball game, Chicago-Atlanta, and he looked wildly out of sorts. He just looked slow, and he looked like he didn't care on the defensive side, and Fred Hoiberg yanked him. So my thought is I'm hanging on to him because if he comes out of the doghouse, which I believe he will at some point, he has the ability to put up some pretty excellent stat lines. It's a weird assortment of stats you can't get other places, but I'm a fan of benching Mirotic on your fantasy team right now until he pushes his way back into Fred Hoiberg's good graces.
No, yeah, Mirotic, I'm not dropping him, but I'm definitely putting him on the bench. He gets hot and cold. He's a shooter. That's what shooters do. Shooters get into shooting streaks, and right now he's on the back end of a bad shooting streak. So at some point, it's going to turn around. I've talked about it a lot. You've seen Hoiberg place together at lineups with Gibson and Mirotic in the same exact lineup. So they're using them together so they can space out the floor and have a little bit more of an offensive push, so, and to have more room for guys like Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, and Rajon Rondo to move around. I think all this really does is help the Rolo owners, Robin Lopez owners, to hopefully see him get more minutes and get his stock high enough to where you can sell at least at a decent value to get something back in return. Maybe you need some three-point shooting. I brought him up earlier. I think Wes Matthews is a good trade asset to get for a guy like Robin Lopez if a team needs some rebounding and blocks, and you're a person that doesn't really care about your field goal percentage and you need some three-pointers and steals. So that's something that you can look at. But yeah, he's in a shooting slump, and this isn't the time to drop him because he's going to have such a key role with that team moving forward. But yeah, you just got to bench him, and you got to hope that he can get out of it sooner rather than later.
On the Atlanta side, Vince, I watched a lot of this ball game, and I saw the same thing that we've been seeing throughout the season so far, which is that Bazemore and Cephalosha are splitting the small forward minutes, and Kyle Korver and Tim Hardaway Jr. are splitting the shooting guard minutes. And it makes all four of them a bit of a headache. And obviously, Kent Bazemore is the guy that we keep expecting to surge ahead. And he had 7 assists yesterday to salvage what was otherwise a pretty bad line. But Thabo Cephalosha got hot, and Bazemore sat on the bench for a while. So, how do you own these guys? Is this just cover your eyes with Bazemore and wait for this situation to resolve itself, or is he now a guy that you were just mentioning it like Robin Lopez? Do you wait for an opportunity for him to string a few good games together and then maybe try to move him because this headache could last a while?
No. I think what you saw was on the second half of the back-to-back, and he was, being guarded by one of the best defenders in the NBA with Jimmy Butler. I mean, he's going to have a hard time to score. We saw in the last 2 games against the Houston Rockets where he broke out of his slump. He had 3 3-pointers, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Then 3 nights later, went up against LeBron James and the Cavs to break that 11-game losing streak. Had 25 points, 4 rebounds, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, the guy can play. He's on the second half of back-to-back. He only got to see 22 minutes. He still contributed in other categories. He didn't turn over the basketball. He still got you 7 assists. So I'm not giving up on Bazemore. The fact that he only took 4 shots, I think was a good sign that he wasn't killing your field goal percentage, even though he was just 1 for 4. He could have done way worse and went like 1 for 10 like somebody else did earlier in the night. So not giving up on Kent Bazemore. I think he's going to have such a key role with that team because of his passing ability, because he gets you steals, and because he can knock down the three-point shot.
I will admit the timeshare stuff going on there does make me a little bit nervous. Bazemore is obviously the best of those 4 players, but there's a little bit of inconsistency, and I think people need to just ride it out a little bit. Speaking of bad field goal percentages, how about that Dennis Schroeder yesterday? We don't need to elaborate on that. He had a rough shooting night. But they did win.
Yeah, he had a bad one.
So, all things forgotten when you beat your opponent. But, that we warned people, Vince, that this was Schroeder. He's Reggie Jackson part 2. He's going to hoist up shots. He's not going to do much for you defensively. And he played 31 minutes and scored 13 points on 19 shots last night. So, the head-to-head guy, fine. Roto guy, not so much. Toronto, Oklahoma City, Vince. We'll move on to that one. There aren't a ton of surprises on the Toronto side these days. Of course, Valanciunas missed yesterday's game with that knee contusion. He's day-to-day. Those of us, like myself, who do have him in a league, hoping that he is back tomorrow. Friday is the Raptors' next ball game. In his absence, in Jared Sellinger's absence, which is more long-term, we finally are starting to see a little something out of Patrick Patterson. And, of course, Lucas Nogueira played a nice game. That one is 100% because of Valanciunas. But Vince, I want to ask you about Patrick Patterson. He's the name that jumps out at me because the door is open for him to do something for this Toronto team. He just never really steps through it. He's always hop in, play some decent real life basketball, but not much on a fantasy side. And last night he did contribute to a fantasy owner. 13 points, three pointers, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 2 steals. He, for me now, has moved into my one more time category where I need to see him do it again to really look engaged in the offense. But where do you stand with Patterson now after he finally showed up yesterday?
Yeah, I want to. He's in the do it for me because this guy, he has the ability to step up for this team. With Jared Sullinger out, even with Valanciunas out, the fact that he can space the floor, he gives energy on defense. He's not a great defensive player by any means, but he has energy on defense to where he should be on the floor more. But he doesn't take advantage of it, like you said. And he's supposed to be the veteran forward, and these younger guys are coming in there, and they're playing well just as much as he is. So he's not deserving of any more minutes that he's already getting unless he's knocking down that jump shot. So I'm not a huge fan of Patrick Patterson unless I'm in a very deep league.
Yeah, he's a tough one. I mean, like I said, I got to see it again before I really believe it. Over on the Oklahoma City side, I think the point to make in this one, and we saw a lot of people racing out to grab Domantas Sabonis after one massive ball game, but he's going to be terribly inconsistent. But my big point, Vince, is that Victor Oladipo, every week, we talk about it every week on Thursdays, seemingly, and every week
Been backed up.
a little more comfortable. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 3-pointers, a couple of steals. He took 16 shots. That's second most on the team. That's what it should be. We're starting to see him creep towards relevancy. And if you still want to get in on the Oladipo train, I think you're running out of time. I'm pretty confident that he's going to get there soon.
Only 1 turnover in that game as well to go with that nice stat line. 5 3-pointers. The fact that he's knocking down the 3-point shot, and when he called himself a 3-and-D guy, I was like, I never really looked at him as a 3-and-D guy, but over his last few games, he has been knocking down that 3-point jump shot with some consistency. They're finding him. They're leaving him open because they're doubling Westbrook, and he's finding him. I want to see his assist numbers go up by 3 more assists. I want him to get to around 4 or 5 assists per game. Right now, I think he's like just under 2 or right at 2. I want to see that go up a little bit. The steals are going to come. At some point, you're going to see him get right back to where he was. I want to see the blocks at least be somewhere near where they were last season. But this guy can play basketball. You guys were worried in the beginning of the season, like, oh, it's time to sell low on Oladipo, and I got to trade him away. Are you guys getting worried? No, we're not worried on Oladipo. No, we're not worried on Jokic, and this is just another reason why Victor Oladipo is stepping up in your buy low window. I think if it hasn't closed already, it's like literally this much open for you to still try and go buy low on Victor Oladipo. Also, Enes Kanter was terrible. Only 18 minutes. He was not good last night.
Yeah, he's been less consistent this year than I think we were all hoping. Is there hope in sight for Enes, or is he pretty much going to be the guy we saw last year, which is he's going to give you some points and some rebounds, but they don't want to move him into that big-time role that we were hoping for?
Sabonis has played so good. Like, he has played really good for this team. They look at him, and I don't remember what beat writer that covers the team. Actually, they were recently on a podcast, and they cover the team like every single day. And they're talking about how OKC looks at Sabonis as a huge cornerstone piece of that team, and that's why he's a starter. And he's showing why. I mean, before last night's game, and he's still getting the assist numbers up. He's averaging like a 3-pointer and a half, 11 points, 7 rebounds. He's playing very well leading up into that game. He had a little bit of a letdown game for DFS players who went to go get him, but even then at $4,100, I think he just met your value. And then for deep league guys, he's still putting up numbers that no one was expecting him to use. So if you're in like a 16-man league and you want some assists, a couple of rebounds and some points, and maybe even a 3-pointer from a power forward position, I think he gives you better numbers than Patrick Patterson does. So if you have Patrick Patterson and Sabonis is sitting out there, I would rather go have him. But I think the addition of him moving into the starting lineup, and then Jeremy Grant also being there who can play some 4 and run up and down the floor, I think Enes Kanter is looking at a huge time split. And if he's not scoring or rebounding the basketball and his defense still continues to be lackluster, as we've seen throughout the early part of the season and through the majority of his career, he's looking at inconsistent minutes and he's looking at inconsistent stat lines. So I'd sell high as soon as you can see his numbers start getting a couple games under his belt.
Vince, chronologically, the next game on the docket is the one you really wanted to talk about. So what did you want to talk about so badly in Detroit Phoenix?
Marcus Morris has been fantastic this season. Has he not been? I mean, this guy is putting up numbers, 16 and a half points. I swear, I was not high on this guy earlier in the year. We had a question: who would you rather have, T.J. Warren or Marcus Morris? They're basically doing the same exact thing. He's getting like a right under 2 steals a game, 2 3-pointers a game, 16 and a half points. I'm not even looking down at my phone. I know this because I'm watching him. I'm having so much fun watching Marcus Morris play. And the best part about it was after knocking down 2 3-pointers in last night's game, he for his second 3-pointer, he did a pump fake, tried to draw the foul on TJ Warren, double pumped it, didn't get the foul, and still made the 3-point shot. He has been fun to watch, and I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of Stan Van Gundy is that when he finds his guys, he plays them. There's 6 guys on this Detroit team right now that are seeing consistent minutes. KCP, Drummond, Ish Smith, Marcus Morris, John Lure, and Tobias Harris. And of those guys, the only one who really had a bad game yesterday, I guess you could say Tobias Harris, but he gave you a little bit on the defensive side to make up for it. But, the name that jumps out, Vince, again, as kind of the bubble guy, is John Lure. He's really playing well for the Pistons right now.
Called it. Did I not call it?
He's a guy that you and I have liked. He's a guy that AB talked about a lot at the end of last year with Phoenix. He's a guy that puts up good fantasy numbers when they give him time, and SVG's giving him time.
They spoke so highly of him all through the offseason and what he does on the floor next to Drummond. The fact that he runs the floor just as good as Tobias Harris. He grabs rebounds. He blocks shots. He can't knock down the 3-point shot like Tobias Harris does. He's not a scorer like Tobias Harris, but he knows his role and he fills it up just right. Like, he knows where he's supposed to be on the floor. He's also capable of putting the ball on the floor and actually dishing it out as a willing passer and not always looking to put the ball in the hole. So he's a guy that, if you need the rebounding and you need a guy who can come in there and you know what you're going to get from him, I think he's only a deep league play. But if anything's to happen to Drummond or to Tobias Harris or maybe even Marcus Morris, any of those front court guys, you can see him get an uptick in minutes and possibly get into standard leagues.
Over on the Phoenix side, you've got this weird situation developing. Marquise Chris is starting, but he hasn't been good in the 2 games that he has started. And each of those, he's had some old guy come off the bench and outperform him. And, 2 days ago it was PJ Tucker, and then yesterday it was Jared Dudley, Vince. But obviously the long-term guy is Chris. That's the guy that Phoenix wants to develop. In the short term, I'm not touching any of them.
Don't talk about old. Jared Dudley's my boy. I love Jared Dudley. That dude keeps it real about everything. Like that he is so listening to him on podcasts, he talks. I can't remember what he said. He was talking bad about like Dwayne Wade, or no, it was Carmelo Anthony. He was talking bad about Carmelo Anthony on like the Zach Lowe podcast. This dude keeps it real. I cannot wait till he retires so he joins the ESPN or TNT or whatever he joins, because this guy keeps it real. I love listening to Jared Dudley talk.
Would you say, Vince, that Jared Dudley is this generation's iteration of Raja Bell?
Yeah, that's a great one. Even now, I think what he is too is like this generation's like Jalen Rose, just because he talks so much.
I wish I had the sound queued up. I don't. I'm sorry, and that's my bad. I let you down.
Got to give the people.
What are you gonna get?
Give the people what they want. You guys are getting a lot of karaoke here today. Yeah. Like the Filipinos getting the Magic Mike going over here. He's like, Manny Pacquiao, pancit, no.
Did you see all the comments, Vince, in the chat room of folks that are actually listening from the Philippines today?
Yeah, I did. I saw it. It's 3 a.m. over there. They woke up or they're still up this late watching the show. So, like, full-on support out there. Thank you guys so much. We definitely appreciate it. Eric Ong, one of the writers, and did the Daily Dish for us last night. He's from the Philippines. Yeah. We're having, by the way, Thanksgiving, huge Filipino fest going on at my uncle's house. We're already talking about it on Facebook all throughout this morning. We're going to have pancit, we're going to have lumpia, we're going to have biku, which is like a nice like rice with like brown sugar on it. Oh my goodness.
Vince, you gotta explain what that is to your friendly neighborhood white guy over here.
Biku is like this rice that's like sugar with brown sugar, like some brown sugar, and it's like just really good. And it's just like the best dessert you can have. I'm telling you right now, you guys think I'm fat? Wait till after Thanksgiving.
Oh boy, I can't wait to get a Vince shuffle going after that one. Is that what's? I wait a minute. Do it again. I had my camera down.
Oh, okay. Hold on. One second. Ready?
That's the power, bro. Oh, you shook your headset right off. That's incredible. Oh, that's
Yeah.
commitment of Vince Miracle, everybody. Let's talk about Houston, San Antonio, the battle for Texas, because
a
nobody
fun
cares about the Mavericks right now. Sam Decker was really good yesterday. I mean, he only played 18 minutes, and he's not going to be a consistent fantasy force at 18 minutes a game, but he might have been one of the big reasons that they won that ball game.
Yeah, no, he was. I'm over here, guys. Hey, how's it going? Grabbing my charger. I need to get into the chat room, and my chat room's gonna go out if I don't grab the charger for the laptop. But yeah, no, Sam Decker was good in his limited minutes. He was a key reason why that team was good. That buzzer beating 3 to end the second quarter was fun to watch. He has a long way to go to redeem himself for the Shaq and the Fool of the Year for running down the court on a solo fast break, trips over himself, falls to the ground, loses the ball. The ball somehow bounces on the ground, smacks him in the face, and goes out of bounds. Shaq and the Fool of the Year. I don't know if you can ever top that. So you have to redeem yourself. Well, games like this, he did it in his 18 minutes. We just need to see it consistently.
The thing that Shaq and the Fool scene was amazing, Vince, and the best part was when I was watching it happen in real time, and they cut to the bench for both teams, and everybody on both sides was just laughing hysterically. I felt so bad for him that moment.
I didn't. I was like, this is the best moment ever because I was watching that game live too. I was like, that did not just happen. That did not just happen. Are you not entertained?
Okay, the big story in this ballgame from a fantasy standpoint is Danny Green, who came back and he gave you 2 3-pointers, 4 steals, and 1 block. And the reason that I didn't mention points, rebounds, or assists is because, frankly, if you're running Danny Green out there, you don't really care what he gives you in points, rebounds, and assists. But if he's getting you 3 steals and blocks, I mean, Aaron and I have talked about it quite a bit. Shooting guards go through long slumps, season-long sometimes. I mean, I think you really have to take a chance on Danny Green if he's out there in your league. And I know he's owned in something like 2/3 of Yahoo League, so he's not available in many. But if he's available in yours, I absolutely, positively think you have to grab him. The upside is too high.
He had a bad year last year. We all know it. We all saw it. It was very disappointing. I hung on to him until probably like right before the playoffs started, and I was like, I just can't take the risk on this guy anymore. But I mean, 4 steals in his return game. That's just that, and he played a key role down the stretch. I mean, he stole the ball from James Harden as soon as he came back into the game in the fourth quarter, replacing Jonathan Simmons. Got the pick and almost got stuck on a dunk though. He tried to go up for a dunk on a wide open fast break and almost got stuck. So he's still working back into game shape, but. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. You're really getting him for the points. Not for the points. You're getting him for the 3-pointers. You're getting him for the steals. You're getting him for the potential block a game and the low turnovers. You're not getting him for all those other stats. Those are just nice little trickle stats. And he's a guy who's going to get hot. And he's going to get cold. But you're using him for the defensive stats that he gives you and the fact that he can knock down the 3-point shots. So. And he played 26 minutes in his return, which is nice. Overall, he had a great stat line. He filled it up across the stat board, and he only had 1 turnover in his 26 minutes. So great return for Danny Green.
Last 2 games of the night, and we'll go through these real quickly because they were some ugly blowouts. The Clippers annihilated the Portland Trail Blazers, and to me, there really is almost no fantasy story to emerge from this ballgame, other than the fact that I'd like to mention that Maurice Spates is one of the most entertaining basketball players on earth to watch because he just gets in there and he starts firing. I mean, he's the least bashful basketball player in the NBA right now. How many guys, Vince, are averaging like 0.7 of a shot per minute? If he played 30 minutes, he'd take 25 shots. Easy.
I love the fact that he thinks he's some type of small forward Kevin Durant type player, and every time he steps on the floor, he has to take like 3 3-pointers in a blowout. I'm like, come on, man, stop it. Get down to the post. But I gotta let you know, I love my buckets.
Yeah, it's tough not to. He had 12 and 8, a steal and 2 blocks last night in a blowout, and it didn't change his minutes, by the way. He played 15 minutes in a blowout. He plays about 15 minutes in a regular game. So, if you needed a sneaky source of points and you're in a really, really, really deep league and you want to watch a Clippers game without feeling nauseated, Mo Buckets is your guy.
What's that thing on his head, though? Like, I never noticed that was there. What's that thing on his head? Do you ever notice that?
I think it's a birthmark.
Oh, I didn't know. I've never seen that before until just recently. So,
Like Sheed. Remember Rashid had the birthmark that turned his hair a different color? I think it's that same deal.
I have that. I have that birthmark. If I turned around right now, you'd see a blonde spot in the back of my head.
I don't believe you.
At the end of the show, I'll show you.
All right, there you go. There's your teaser. Stick around to the end of the program to see the back of Vince's head. Dallas was also a pretty ugly ball game. The Mavericks rested their entire starting lineup and then some. Harrison Barnes is turning into a pretty nice source of points, and that's kind of what we expected. But
yeah,
I mean, you can't take away from this ball game that nobody played for the Mavs. Nobody played.
Harrison Barnes, you got to admit, he's kind of blown you away for what he's done. You were not high on Harrison Barnes, and he has been playing great.
I'm still not that high on him. He's a big-time scorer, but that's, the other stuff does leave something to be desired still.
He's rebounding the ball as well, too, also knocking down some three-point shots. I'm pulling up his stat line over his last few games, so I have it in front of you. But you have to admit, he's come in there. You didn't think he was going to be that great of a scorer over the offseason. He's come in. He's been a leader for that team. Over the last week, he's averaging 26.8 points, 7 rebounds, assists and a half a steal, and only 1 turnover. So, yeah, you want to see some more defensive stats, but 49% from the field, 91% from the free throw line. He's getting there 6 times, so you know it's having an effect on your team when you're doing the free throw percentage in your guys' league. So you got to give him some props. The guy's playing very well this season.
I never doubted you on that side of things. In fact, I'd actually drafted Harrison Barnes in my points league because I thought that he'd be chucking up shots and making some of them. But, man, in a Roto league, he's still not doing enough for me. Even with those big scoring numbers, he looks kind of like DeMar DeRozan from a couple years ago.
Yeah, I want to see more defensive stats. I get you there. I think he's a good positional defender. He's not going to get you a ton of steals, but if he can get you to a steal and a half, like right around 2 steals a game, I think he's able to do so. If Wesley Matthews can do it, Harrison Barnes can do it. Let's go.
And he's just not. He doesn't get you the. You're right. He's a pretty good positional defender. He does that side of things, but he's not a fantasy defender, and that's what we need. And also, of course, his opportunity will decrease a little bit. He took 20 shots last night. Justin Anderson took 19, and I will read off.
Justin Anderson is nice.
Yeah, but he's not playing 41 minutes when Williams, Barea, Harris, Nowitzki, Bogut, and Matthews are actually playing. There were 6 guys out for the Mavericks last night.
Yeah, for those who played Barea in their DFS lineups were screwed, and guess what? There was 49% of them, so I want some money.
So this becomes a 1-game week for Barea if you're in a weekly league. That's tough to stomach.
Yeah, that was very, very unfortunate to see that happen. But Seth, the talk about that night, and you have to be honest, it was the thing that took the headline. Curry on Curry. 5 steals for Seth. He was nice. And on top of that, Curry rolled his ankle, is now questionable for tonight's game.
Yeah, he did come back last night, and he played after he rolled it, but you know how those things can swell up. It wasn't a bad one if you watched it. It was a very minor tweak. He didn't kind of come over the ankle. It was just a flex outward. So there's a chance that he misses tonight's game, but I doubt he misses more than 2 or 3 days. This is a small one. Don't panic. I know Curry's had ankle issues in the past, but I watched that one last night, and it really wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad. I know that Curry says he plans to play tonight, but I don't know if he really needs to against Denver, a Denver team. I will say this though: if he does play, and Vegas has their lights on for a reason, they're only favored by 6.5 points against Denver. So throwing that out there.
That's a weird line. That is a real weird line.
No, and normally that means it's a gimme game. That's it's a trick you in to go pick that game. And while the obvious choice is I'm only giving up 6.5 points, I'm taking the Warriors. Vegas has their lights on for a reason. So,
and I'll tell you, one of the big things is that it's really difficult to play the second half of a back-to-back in altitude. You see teams run out of gas in the third quarter often, and that's when Denver makes their push. And this could end up being a relatively close ball game. I'll also mention, by the way, just from my time working in sports handicapping, they generally move the line about 2 points when you're playing the second half of a back-to-back. So this would, under normal circumstances, be a Warriors by 8.5. But yes,
Still low, though.
yeah, it's a weird one. And home court they give you about 3. So neutral site, I think they've got Warriors as 11.5-point favorites in this. But yeah, 6.5 is a weird number. But Vince, you got 4 games tonight. Chicago's in Miami. New Orleans is in Milwaukee. Warriors, as we just mentioned, are Mile High, and the Lakers are in your neck of the woods. Are you going?
I have fantasy NBA tonight. I'm not going.
Oh, so sad. Maybe my Lakers can come in and beat your Kings. That'd be a lot of fun. But with Darren Collins, it's gonna be tougher.
You're Lakers, huh? You're Lakers, huh?
That's right. Sadale Threet and Cedric Ceballos and the whole team. I'm sending them all your way.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I point at it because it's true. There's ice in that man's veins, and he's one of my DFS plays today. But DC, you better lock that boy up because I can't have Dan talking on the show about how his Lakers destroy the Kings, and I can't stop hearing about it until the next matchup. So yeah.
I don't know what that is. It could be a little bit. So hopefully, but I'm not that hopeful. I think your Kings get this one. They played better in their last one, and Collison makes them a much better team. So should be a good ball game. But okay, Vince, from a fantasy perspective, what are you looking for in these 4 ball games tonight?
I mean, the most interesting game to me is honestly Chicago and Miami. Miami has been a little bit of an up and down team to watch. They're only favored by 2 points going into the night. Justice Winslow has been a little bit on a downhill spiral right now. A lot of his fantasy owners are like drawing question mark. But again, do not drop him. I know a lot of people are like, oh, should I drop Justice Winslow? No, he's getting the shots. The shots just aren't falling right now, and that's what happened. He's kind of basically their shooting guard / small forward. He's still rebounding. He's going to get you the steals. Josh Richardson, I want to see him get more minutes. I believe he played 25 minutes in their last game, but again, he's still getting back into NBA form. Goran Dragic, I want to see how he's going to be able to match up against a guy like Rajon Rondo. He should be able to score in that one because Rajon Rondo's defense is just as good as mine against the NBA player. and so that's probably like the game I'm really looking forward to. And then can New Orleans finally get a win? I mean, can they get a win, or is it Alvin Gentry's fault?
Can Alvin Gentry please just play Terrence Jones?
No, because Terrence Jones is going to stay in the doghouse until he somehow scores 50 points in the game. Then the fans are going to go after Gentry's head for not playing him anymore.
Yep. It's Alvin Gentry, man. He's a good offensive coordinator, or a good offensive coach, I should say, but his time as a head coach has been a little bit disappointing. I'm watching that ball game because I want to see how Gentry runs his rotations. I'm watching the first ball game to see if Mirotic can bother to play a little bit of defense and stay in the game a little longer. And Vince, of course, I got to watch Jokic. I got to see what they're doing at the big guy spot in Denver. This is going to be a really, really difficult game to gauge because they're playing a Warriors team that often goes with a 6'8" center. So, I mean, this could be ugly. This could be one of the worst games of the year for those two big guys in Denver, and that's going to hurt a lot of people because we're still waiting for that situation to resolve itself. So, a lot of fans,
I honestly really like Jokic in this game against Draymond Green.
I hope they play him. This it's tough. I mean, beginning of the ball game, you got Jokic and Nurkic against Green and Pachulia, but as soon as Pachulia's out and Durant is playing the 4, I don't see how Denver could possibly play one of their big guys and try to guard Kevin Durant. It's a no-go.
This is the lineup you're going to see that I think that they should run against the Golden State Warriors, but if they run it, it will be a huge question mark. Do we have any word on if Wilson Chandler's playing? I know he had that hamstring injury, and I know he was questionable leading up to their last matchup, but he didn't actually play. So that'll be interesting if he actually plays or not.
Nothing today yet, from what I gather, but keep your eye on that one. Let's assume that he does get in there.
Let's say so if he plays, I think you're going to see a Jokic, Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, Gary Harris, and Moutier, or you're just going to see the lineup if he doesn't play of Jokic, Gallo, Harris, Murray, and Moutier. They're going to go small. They're going to try and match up with this team. Defensively, they're just fine. Gary Harris is a very gritty player, and they needed him, and he played in a huge factor down the stretch in that Memphis game. Fortunately, it came into a loss, but that was a very entertaining game. So I think Jokic is going to be able to be a key member to this team because, yes, he has the size advantage over a guy like Zaza Pachulia, who's a really good positional defender when you're putting his back to the basket. Good thing is that Jokic can face the basket and score in that way. He also has the height advantage over a guy like Draymond Green. So I think that's where you're going to try and start seeing them use Jokic in very different sets, and they need to. He's a better passer than Nurkic, and we saw that against Memphis, and Nurkic kept throwing the ball at the feet of Danilo Gallinari on back cuts. And so they need us to start incorporating Jokic as a primary player. I think they're just riding the hot hand right now, which has been Nurkic to the early part of the season. So the buy low window is still there for a guy like Jokic, and I think that's something that you guys definitely have to consider. But again, that's 6.5 point favorites to Golden State really is drawing me like a huge question mark. It's the second half of back-to-back. They actually played their starters in a lot of that game. I think Klay Thompson becomes a huge player to play in DFS. But, yeah, I'm very interested to watch the big man against Golden State tonight.
All right, let's lightning round these questions, Vince. We don't have a ton of time left on the show, just about 6 minutes by my count. So here's what I'm thinking. I'll introduce a question. I'll give my opinion. You give yours, and then take us to the next one. Sound good?
Let's go.
All right, this is officially Vince and Dan snake lightning rounding our way through the chat room. Adrian says, what up, guys? A great night of hoops last night. Would you drop Terrence Jones or Cody Zeller to grab Dario Saric or Justin Hamilton? Yeah, I know I'm going to get crushed for this, but my answer is actually no. I like Jones and Zeller right now over those other two guys, and I realize that that's sacrilege, but I'm going with it anyway.
Hamilton. I've never been on the full train of Dario Saric. I mean, I understand the potential. I see the intrigue there, but I see the role he's going to be playing with that team. But I would drop Jones right now. He's just too inconsistent and go get Justin Hamilton.
I can't help but love that promise. All right, give us the next question, Vince.
Is it officially safe to plug Lord Covington back in my lineup? Yes.
Yes, completely agree.
Next question,
Mark. Yeah, we're blasting through, baby. How's it going, Dan and Vince? Would you fellas trade Devin Booker for Jay Crowder or Otto Porter straight up?
I would do Jay Crowder if you wanted it. I mean, I would rather have Devin Booker, I think, because of the points, and I think he can get you the defensive stats for that team. But if you wanted to get anybody, I'd choose Jay Crowder straight up.
Head-to-head league, I'm staying with Jay Crowder. Or excuse me, head-to-head league, I'm staying with Devin Booker for sure. In a roto league, I think I'd want Jay Crowder would be my top guy of those three. There's some discussion about the Philippines here, Vince, so we're scrolling down in the chat room. Make sure we get to the next question right. Scott Douglas is the next one I'm seeing. Guys, how long of a leash would you have with Nico? I think he was talking about Mirotic. There are a couple of Nicolas in the league now. Guys that could replace him, Dario Saric, Larry Nance Jr., Justin Hamilton, Al-Farouq Aminu, and Cody Zeller. Like I said, I'm benching Mirotic, but I'm not dropping him. So if you absolutely positively must drop him and get a guy in that's hot right now, of that list, I guess you're probably looking at Hamilton.
I like Cody Zeller.
I'd rather have Mirotic. Of all the guys listed, I'd rather have Mirotic.
I don't know. It depends. Like if you need 3-pointers, I'd stick with Mirotic. But I mean, if you want some blocks, you want someone who can contribute across the board, and both free throw percentage and field goal percentage is going to be good. I think Cody Zeller has proven to be a good player, and he's going to go up as soon as he can finally reach 30 minutes a game.
And a couple of the guys that were listed there are hurt too, so they're definitely not the choice. If the issue is that you don't want to bench him, Vince, what's this question from F. Cruz?
Someone offered me Rob and Winslow for T. Booker, but I already have Whiteside and Josh Richardson, but I do need a third center. Should I take that offer or try to get something else? 12-team, 9-cat, head-to-head. Oh, and I said Rob, and it's Rolo.
Huh. This is interesting because to me, Trevor Booker in this trade is being treated as the best asset, and that's basing a lot on the first 2.5 weeks of basketball.
No, someone offered you Robin Lopez and Justice Winslow for Trevor Booker.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, it's a toss up of a deal. I really like Justice Winslow, but and Robin Lopez is gonna be fine, but I haven't been a huge fan of Robin Lopez this season as a whole. And Trevor Booker's getting you 2 steals a game and also getting you almost a double double. I was talking to someone, I believe it was Eric Ong earlier this week, I believe on Sunday, or earlier last week on Sunday, and he was telling me that Trevor Booker could be like the Marvin Williams this season, like have that breakout year for Brooklyn. So. I mean, I like Winslow. I think Lopez provides something. I would maybe lean towards yes, because you're getting the 2 players that I think will help you in just as many stats as Booker. But, I mean, Booker has been playing well. I don't know. I think I'm accepting it just because you're getting the other. But what would you be dropping, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, that is the real question. It's weird to get 2 guys there. I think you could probably do better right now because people are really high on Booker. But, I mean, Justice Winslow might be a good get on his own in that trade. Movie Dude, he says he's in need of a point guard and assists big time. He was just offered D'Angelo Russell, Isaiah Thomas, and Zach LaVine for Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Richardson, and Gary Harris. Should I pull the trigger? You guys know where I sit on this. I'm never giving up a first-round pick, so I say no.
You're giving up Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Richardson, and Gary Harris for D'Angelo Russell, Isaiah Thomas, and Zach LaVine?
Nope.
No. Hit reject and say ha 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 and move on to the next offer.
Yeah, if you're trading
right.
Karl Anthony Towns, you better be getting a first-round guy in return. Do not trade him for second/thirds and fourths and sixth and things like that. It's not going to work out for you. I mean, if you need assists that badly, just go offer Karl Anthony Towns for somebody that's pretty much equal in value that does more in the assist category. There's better ways there to bulk up that without getting rid of your first-round pick. Vince, do you think Justice Winslow's stats are going to improve and prove to be consistent?
Prove to be consistent. I don't think he'll be consistent at all. I mean, I think maybe he'll get a little consistent, but I mean, you're going to have those off days no matter what, especially with the second-year guy. Winslow's a good player, though. I think he's getting the shots. He's going to play a huge role for that team. Don't give up on him. The field goal percentage, I think, can get up to right around 42%. I'm not thinking of anything great. I was hoping for 44, but as much as he's shooting and as hard as it has been for him to get the ball to go in the hole, I think that's been a huge question mark, but I think the defensive stats are going to be there, and I think he's going to be just fine moving forward. So as long as you're okay with the not-so-great field goal percentage, I think he's going to be worth holding on to.
14-team, 9-category league where the 9th category is free throws made instead of free throw percentage. And the trade offer here is Devin Booker and Dario Saric for Otto Porter and Trevor Booker. So there's Bookers on both sides. Vince, this is truly the bookended trade. Which side do you like? And I'm not going to go into why because, again, we're low on time. For me, with free throws made instead of free throw percentage, that does change a little bit. But 9 category makes a guy like Otto Porter even more valuable. So this is a tough one, but I think I'm taking the Porter and Booker side.
Yeah, I'm taking Porter Booker. You're getting the defensive stats. Porter's still going to get you a 3. The double-doubles are there. Sark's been too inconsistent.
Yeah, and Devin Booker's advantages in some of those scoring categories are nullified a little bit in a 9-category league. Where are we going next, Vince? There's some conversations going on here. What's your next question?
Are Biyombo and Terrence Jones strongholds with their respective teams losing consistently, or should I move on Sark, Hamilton, Al-Farouq Aminu, field goal percentage killer? 9-cat head-to-head. Thanks.
Ooh.
This is from Roderick.
I don't know how I could possibly answer a question about Biyombo before you, Vince. He's your favorite player in the NBA.
Giving people that business is Bismack Biyombo.
Oh man, I mean, Aminu's
congratulations
hurt.
to Ben, by the way.
Yeah, and he asked if we thought Dario Saric and Otto Porter's uptick in stats is a fluke due to injuries. My answer is yes. Actually, last night they had bigger games than expected, but I don't know if it's necessarily the injuries. Sometimes guys just have big ball games, so I just understand that it's all about averages. And at the end of the year, you'll have some big games, you'll have some small ones, you'll have some very average ones, and at the end, you'll end up somewhere in between. But anyway, yes, congratulations, Ben. For that Bismack T. Jones question, I like Terrence Jones over most of the guys that people are talking about. I'm holding out hope. I'm a very patient man. Bismack, I think I'm in the same boat because I feel like somebody's got to get moved out of that team.
Until someone gets moved, I think Biombo is someone they can leave on waivers though in standard leagues, especially in a 9-cat head-to-head type of league. He's not getting the minutes to really get unless you absolutely need blocks. Terrence Jones maybe is someone that you can hold on to with his team constantly losing, but Justin Hamilton's on the board and he's someone that I'm keeping my eye on. So I might drop Biombo and go after Justin Hamilton, but still I understand the intrigue of keeping Biombo.
Yeah, it's a good point. 9-cat head-to-head, you got to get somebody in there who's giving you something quickly, and Biombo's not that guy right now, but certainly the upside for both of those guys is probably higher than the upside you're looking at for the guys you're thinking about picking up. Evan Fournier just had his third mediocre game. Should I be worried? My answer is no. He's pretty much the only guy in Orlando that doesn't have somebody actively challenging most of his minutes, so no, don't worry.
No, don't worry. William Tong, what's your outlook on Rondo this season?
I don't even know if we need to call it an outlook because it's happening already. Vince, you and Aaron Bruschi have called it many, many times over. The honeymoon period might already be coming to an end. He can't shoot. He doesn't space the floor. His defense is gambling at best. Things are already starting to get ugly in Chicago. That team looked better last night with Isaiah Cannon on the floor. I cannot believe I just said that, but it's the doggone truth. The outlook is not so good, said the Magic 8-Ball.
They have leverage over Rondo's contract too. He's not a good fit there. He wasn't a good fit for Sacramento either. And now you're seeing why Isaiah Whitehead probably looked a lot better because he can actually stretch the floor. I really am Jay Hunter. They haven't played him yet. They sent him down to the D League. I wonder if he's gonna actually get a shot with the team.
Would you trade Trevor Ariza for Drew Holiday, 9-cat head-to-head standard league? Those guys are pretty similar, actually, in my opinion, in terms of value. 8-cat, I'd rather have Holiday. 9-cat, I think they're almost head-to-head, so it depends. Can you suffer a hit in turnovers for a guy that's going to score and assist a lot more? Then you probably want Holiday. If you have high turnover guys on your team already and you need a captain of efficiency who doesn't shoot the ball all that well but doesn't turn the ball over, big steals, big threes, I think you keep the Ariza side. Vince?
I really like Drew Holiday, and if you need the assist, he's definitely a guy that he's worth going to grab. I'm going to check something real quick.
I really like both of those guys a lot.
If you need the steals, I mean, honestly, I think with Holiday, he gets you 3-pointers, he gets you steals, he gets you assists, he gets you points. With Ariza, he gets you 3-pointers, he gets you steals, but he's been bad to start the season. So if you can do it, yeah, that's fine. I think Ariza is going to improve though. He's going to be such a huge part for that Houston Rockets team. It just hasn't shown yet.
You know what's really funny, Vince, is Ariza has very, very quietly been a top 40 so far this year. I know it's going to surprise a lot of people, but on the season, Trevor Ariza, and I know we're running out of time, is averaging 11.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2.5 3-pointers, only 1.3 turnovers, 90% from the foul line, and 43% from the field, which is actually pretty good. He's currently the 44th ranked guy, and I don't even think he's hit his stride yet. So, I mean, that's the upside with Trevor Ariza. But, yeah, I mean, we're splitting hairs with this one because both of these guys are going to be really good.
Yeah, I think they'll just be just fine. I don't think you really need to worry about them. I think we have time for one more question because I also have to go to the restroom.
Yeah, Mirotic or John Lure?
I think John Lewar's going to be a little bit more consistent, but Niko Mirotic has the upside.
Yeah, that's sell high on Yusuf Nurkic. I say yes. I think you do sell high.
Yeah, I think he's going to have value all season, but yeah, you should sell high while you can.
Wilson Chandler has been listed as out, so that changes your plan, Vince. But otherwise, I think we knocked out the question. So, Miracle Man, I'm going to let you go and use the little boys' room, but it's always a pleasure. Wait.
There's the blonde spot right there.
Wait a minute. I got my camera down. I don't even say something.
See it? Hello.
Is it down bottom right? Is that what I'm looking at?
I don't know. It's somewhere over here.
Yeah, I do see it. It's a little blurry, but I see it. And then for those in the chat room, hopefully you can see it as well. Vince, I miss you every week, man. But I think we're together on Monday next week because the shows are splitting up. So I'll be with Brewski and with you on 2 separate shows on Monday. Yeah, thumbs
I have
up.
to go to the bathroom at VM Center. Also, tomorrow, guys, we're going to have a big show. Dan, I'm throwing this at you as a wild card right now because you don't even know this, but it's happening. Me, you, and Aaron Brewski live tomorrow on Friday. It's going to be amazing. And also, beware of this, guys. Become a premium in-season member today using promo code SWISH for 15% off of $19.99. And watch tomorrow's show because you never be giving away one of them. Follow me at VM Center. Also, guys, iTunes, go subscribe, rate, leave us a rating. Let us know what you guys love about the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to the bathroom. Peace. Love talking to you, Dan. It's TNT Thursday.
Vince is out, everybody. He has left us. I am here to wrap things up on my own. Yeah, that sounds fun, actually, and it makes a lot of sense because tomorrow is the last free live YouTube show outside of Vincent and myself. We're going to get together every Thursday and do this for you. But Brewski's shows now, the live ones, will be moving behind the paywall. So get that premium subscription. I apologize for trying to pull the wallet out and turn your pockets inside out. But again, guys are working really hard at hoopball.com, myself included, to make sure that we got all this quality content for you on a daily basis. Multiple podcasts every day, tons of fantastic articles. Go and subscribe. You'll be happy you did. It's a drop in the bucket to have some really amazing content, and you'll win your fantasy league, so you'll probably win that money back anyway. He is Vince Miracle. He already told you how to find him, VM Center on Twitter. I'm Dan Besbris, same name on Twitter. Hoopball Tweets is the website. As he told you, iTunes, Android, whatever it is, search for Fantasy NBA Today. We're on Stitcher. We're on TuneIn Radio as well. And subscribe so that you can get these shows, whether or not they are live via the YouTube link from Hoopball Media. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Nice turnout today. Lots of great questions for Vince Miracle, who has vanished to the bathroom. I'm Dan Besbris. Have a wonderful day. And Vince, we'll talk to you tonight. John Sill, 9 p.m. Stay tuned.